pantsless modeling gig?
I was hoping Coyote vs. Acme would be a good movie, but I was not expecting what I saw in the theater. And yeah, we're all talking about how it was shelved 3 years ago, but what I want to know is it a good Looney Tunes movie? I don't care about the history right now. After Space Jam 2, my expectations have dwindled to nothing. And I was so surprised at what I saw in the theaters.
I'm going old school on his butt.
What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000, focusing on 2000s media and so much more. Today we're covering the Wile E. Coyote movie, Coyote vs. Acme. So it's no surprise that they have a slew of movies already. The Looney Tunes have been around for a really long time. We don't have to wonder if these characters are gonna fit on the big screen, because they kinda already did. Of course, we have the popular Space Jam, which did it the best at its time. It's the movie where Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan essentially team up against a race of aliens in a basketball game.
What's going on here?
We need your help!
You heard of the Dream Team? Well, we're the Mean Team.
The way it combined the cartoon world and the live action world not only added to like the Looney Tunes lore, but thrust the human world into a fantasy that I was so addicted to when I saw it for the first time. Like, I can't stop thinking about that scene where they go underground and they hit the WB logo. Like, there's something about it that's so magical. Like, the stakes were high, the characters were interacting with humans. It was almost as if it was just a genuinely good movie, and that was like really important. I mean, it's important for any family-friendly movie to have the amount of stakes that a normal movie would have. I feel like it's really easy for companies to make movies that pander to younger kids, and I feel like if I was worried about Coyote vs. Acme taking anything from Space Jam, it would be the marriage of the cartoon and the real life. There's just something about following a main character in the human world, despite the fact that Looney Tunes are the popular part. Like, that's already kind of like a hard place to start from, but the way the events transpired and how each of the Looney Tunes characters are introduced is organic and natural and adds to the stakes of the movie. I feel like the theme of that movie is about being a team, and it's about all the Looney Tunes coming together, despite the fact that, like, it's mostly following Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. But you know what? Like, we like that. We like how that went out. Back in Action did a horrible job at the box office, which I was so surprised, because this I actually prefer over the Space Jam movie. Basically, we have Brandon Fraser, the son of a secret spy. He's like this stuntman, and him, Daffy Duck, and Bugs Bunny get looped into this whole adventure trying to find this blue monkey statue, and it's really funny. I feel like the stakes are super high, and they copied the things that worked about Space Jam, which were the fact that we followed a human character, and Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck were kind of along for the ride. Which is interesting, because when you think about it, like, I do think Will Forte was the main character in this movie, but I feel like Wile E. Coyote had just as much a plot line, a character arc, than they had in any Looney Tunes movie thus far, so I was pretty impressed with how that went down. This one had like a really good plot. Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck kind of had their own character arc. Instead of working together, it was more about, I would say, like, friendship, like trusting one another. I know that sounds like similar to it, but I feel like it's not as much of a team building movie as Space Jam was. And I almost preferred that because we focused on less characters and the obstacles were just with those 4 main characters. There's a little bit of romance in that movie, which wasn't at all in Space Jam, and I was surprised that worked out. But I can never tell why that didn't work out. Like, it's a quintessential 2000s movie. How come the box office didn't like it? All I know is that going into Coyote vs. Acme, there better be, like, a common goal that all the characters have that I can relate to. Because when Space Jam 2 came out, guys, all hope was lost on my end.
This is the Serververse.
Especially since it was Warner Brothers, I'm like, that's the movie you chose not to shelve? Like, it is the most driven corporate nightmare I've ever seen. It felt like they were so focused on getting TikTok on the screen. Like, they had so many Warner Brothers characters that weren't even relevant to the Looney Tunes franchise, as if that were going to excite audiences. There was no plot relevance. The character development was pretty much overshined by all the characters they have. And honestly, like, the last 20 minutes of the movie were just a travesty. I felt like they should have been paying me to watch it because it wasn't even plot at a certain point. And that basketball game went on forever. They didn't treat the plot seriously enough. The character development was kind of a joke. It just felt like it was over. Warner Brothers needed to start talking about their properties more than they needed to make a good movie. And I was done. Until I heard that they had a new 2D animated movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up. That's a really cool idea because we haven't had 2D movies in theaters super often. Like, it's become super rare since COVID that any 2D movie has been in theaters. So the fact that it got good reviews, Daffy and Porky Pig had like a serious plot with actual stakes.
I barely even know you!
They got to be like their cartoony selves while also convince us we're going on for like a deep narrative. That definitely like made it a lot more interesting. I feel like it wasn't a matter of making a good Looney Tunes at a certain point. It was keeping the standard for what a 2D and live-action hybrid is supposed to be. I don't know if you remember, but they did a show called, oh my god, what was it, the He-Man one? Son of Zorn, and I thought this was going to be like the mind-blowing sitcom that makes a hybrid show work, and I was pretty mistaken. I feel like they just didn't try hard enough, or like they were just copying and pasting a normal format for the show.
If you're uncomfortable, though, I will go.
That's not necessary. It is Thanksgiving. Plus, the food's already dead. It's not like he can re-kill it.
And I feel like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers did it slightly better, where they were just a genuinely good movie, and the 2D animation wasn't distracting. When I heard this movie was shelved, honestly, I was kind of excited. I was like, dang, maybe it is actually good. Coyote versus Acme was like something I never knew I was supposed to be excited for because of Space Jam 2. Until, like, all this drama went down, and apparently it was shelved. Now, I didn't think this had to do with the quality of the film at all, until, like, I heard the actors speaking out on, like, how good it was, and, like, what they were putting together. It's just crazy that it took 3 years to come out, but I think that was for the betterment of the whole experience. Like, I think this drew a lot of attention to the movie in a way that needed it.
But you also really introduced this new side of Wile E. Coyote.
And thank God it's a good movie, because I would have hated to just see this be buried. So first off, it's a detective-focused movie, something that really worked well for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The stakes were high, the characters were thrown around here and there, but it was still like a relevant plot. That one was like a bunny following a lead investigator, and this had a lot of those vibes, but they did it in a very Looney Tunes way, which I was super happy with. My biggest issue I was worried about is how often they were going to just throw in the Looney Tunes characters. Like, was this going to be Space Jam 2: A New Legacy, where they were just thrown in there, not even a part of the plot, the stakes didn't have anything to do with it, and that was kind of one of the things I thought really made it shine. The characters of the Looney Tunes only came in when necessary, including Bugs Bunny, which I will get to later. Like, it's easy to be like, okay, obviously they're just gonna try to show this character, this character, this character, but they really had such a good excuse for bringing them all in. Like, Daffy was in a mental asylum. That is so funny, not even just for kids, but for adults. And having him more than just one scene to really affect the audiences and make you laugh was such a good idea. As they're building up this case for Wile E. Coyote to take down Acme, there's like such a good reason to revisit all these characters. And the fact that not only did the characters have something important to say, but they meant a little bit more to the plot than you would expect, and actually reflected the theme of what they were going for. Something that Space Jam 2 and Back in Action didn't really do. Like, this is almost having the elements of a good movie just in general. Made me comfortable with experiencing this movie, because I like that we simplify the plot and then make the characters the complicated part. And following Will Forte's character, this guy who essentially cheats his way through life, doesn't like his job, and just tries to get through everything, like, that's such a interesting and relevant character choice. I was surprised with how modern the characters felt, especially being 3 years ago. Him and his niece were the main detectives, and he started out not caring about the case, but this girl just kept at him, and it became more of a story about redemption for him in particular, and like when it's appropriate to speak out against things, because he was very like, we don't have to talk about this, like we're not taking on this case. There was so much more reluctance to getting him to take this case than I thought. And I love that they didn't let the audience just, like, accept everything the way it was. Like, we really had to earn his character throughout the whole thing. And Wile E. Coyote really affected him in a way that was more so buddy comedy that hadn't been done in the other Looney Tunes movie. Like, it was purely Wile E. Coyote and Will Forte. Like, everybody only came in for very specific reasons, which was definitely a good idea. And the fact that we're worried about Wile E. Coyote's intentions about trying to capture the bird the whole time is just so funny to me. I love how we can get such a cartoony plot twist in such a movie that's trying to be so serious and about the US legal system. The way they like addressed all laws and everything really felt relevant to today, because as we know, you know, the judicial system isn't the best, and they were able to make fun of it in a way that still felt relevant and modern. I feel like the moral at the end of the day, like politics aside, is that when you're waiting for other people to decide what it counts as justice, it's really up to you to decide what is okay and not okay. And that there is a lot of power behind just like the US government system and how your own voice works. Like, there's a lot of times where they lose a case in this movie, and I can't believe how many obstacles they threw at the characters. It's very impressive for a kids movie. Like, they did not let them win, like, ever. And the fact that they made that okay and then pushed Will Forte to get his voice for the non-speaking characters, it's like, why did we have to have a deep metaphor for cartoons? Like, the idea that they're being exploited. It all felt like a metaphor for rich versus poor, which felt more relatable than even, like, just the judicial system. You know, like, the concept of rich people being so powerful that they've earned essentially human rights. Like, the ability to not have to test things. And looking at the cartoons as essentially poor people that they don't view them as having feelings. They're just test dummies for all the things we want to give to humans. Like, it's kind of dark in that sense, in a way that made me think of Roger Rabbit, and that movie was probably just as good as all the Looney Tunes ones, if not better. And those stakes are just so high, it's really interesting. Luckily, like, all the characters I wanted to see didn't show up just real quick, but they played a larger part in the narrative, even, like, if they were only on screen for, like, 2 or 3 scenes. Like, for example, Tweety Bird was, like, one of my favorite underdogs in this movie. Never did I expect Tweety to be one of the villains, but also somewhat working for the team. We got Granny being, like, the heart of the movie, in, like, a very wholesome way, where it's like her dead husband has never been found, and so people are really affected by this case, despite the fact that Will Forte just wants to throw it out. Like, it makes it seem like he's gonna be a bad person if he does throw it out, and I love that. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to have the emotional weight of Granny, and I was really surprised when I learned Tweety was being blackmailed to do the same thing, and it's just so cute. John Cena, I was surprised how well he did, just because he's so convincing as the one in a nutshell. Him and Sam being like the spokespeople for cartoons. It's also interesting that they had a cartoon as the head of Acme, because it really, like, gives this complex situation of, like, him selling out his own people just to make money, and he does it really well. Like, it's crazy how they're just able to get their way out of the limelight legally so many times. By the end of it, emphasizing the connection between Coyote and Will Forte was really cool, because they made it a message about failure and how many times you could mess up before going through with something. And despite the fact that Wile E. Coyote had not the best intentions by the end, like, it ended up with both of them having, like, a big secret against each other. Neither of the friends had trust all along, which made this entire plotline come from a very selfish place. Like, they just threw it all on the table and allowed them to actually deal with it. And finally, we got the most unique car chase ever. Like, car chases have been done so many times, but having a 2D live action car chase, that was a good idea. I was really excited about that scene. And yeah, by the end, like, they didn't just connect. Like, they put these characters through the ringer to really have to connect to one another and show that without one another, they couldn't really complete their character arcs. And Wile E. Coyote, who didn't really need to complete his character arc, really learned what he valued in life and connection just through running around with this bird in the desert. It's just so crazy how much substance they brought out of these simple cartoons of this coyote chasing this bird. Like, I can't believe they were able to find so much. But yeah, Coyote versus Acme, definitely one of the best movie experiences I've had in years. But also, I'm somebody who likes 2D action hybrids, so don't think that my opinion translates to any normal person's opinion. Like, these are the only movies in my eye that could hit a 10 out of 10. Like, I'm not gonna be watching The Odyssey anytime soon. Like, this movie is what makes me cry.
Did you ever light the fuse of an enormous round black bomb and roll it towards your arch enemy expecting it to explode as it should? But it doesn't explode? The wick just goes out? So you walk over to inspect it, and of course then it decides to explode? And your whole entire body is instantly turned to ash and drops to the ground?
And I really hope they do more like this. Not like necessarily a sequel to this, but following other Looney Tunes characters and the emotional stakes that go with the original IP. Like, if we're gonna be making movies, rebooting, reviving, what have you, like, as long as there's, like, cultural relevance, as long as there's, like, really high stakes, and you feel like you're seeing a genuinely good movie, like, keep going with them. I love the idea, we just need a great movie with it. So yeah, that's how I felt about Coyote versus Acme, and I'm gonna get everybody I know to try to see this movie because I was just so proud of it. I was really excited that I wasn't wasting an hour and a half of my time like Space Jam 2. I'm never gonna get over Space Jam 2. That bothered me so much. Comment below if you agree with me. So yeah, also let me know in the comments if you're going out to see the movie this weekend. I would love to share thoughts and hear your guys' opinions. Thank you so much for watching. This is Johnny 2000 and have a great day.